Welcome to Coffee with Democrats, a sensible platform for progressive conversations. Coffee with Democrats is a grassroots movement dedicated to hearing from Democrats, candidates, legislators, and friends from all political backgrounds who want great conversations. Coffee with Democrats is committed to increase Democrat voter registration and Democrat voter turnout by making voting more exciting and meaningful. And now here's your host of Coffee with Democrats, Kevin Dawson.
Y'all made the mistake of putting me right next to all the treats, so if I stop talking, look up, I might be chewing on something. All right, am I good? All right. Hi, my name's Kody Macaulay, and I'm running for CD4. We're at a crossroads here in Oklahoma because we're on the wrong track. And we, the voters of this district, we've got some choices to make, right? Do we want to keep the status quo, or do we want to change it up? Do we want to make a difference? Do we want to bring about real fundamental change? We're at a pivotal moment to decide who we are. Who are we? How will we make this a better country for everybody? When I took the oath of enlistment, I swore to protect the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Unfortunately, one of the biggest threats to our democracy right now is the extremism in our government. My dad was a cop, and my mom was a paralegal for a defense attorney. I grew up in a very conservative household. I haven't always been a Democrat. For a long time, I was a Republican. That's how I grew up. I would get glimpses of how the world really was as I sat at the dinner table and listened to the stories that my dad would tell about his night on duty and my mom working different cases. And that was my small little glimpse into how the world really worked. It shouldn't surprise anybody, except probably me, that I experienced a large culture shock when I joined the military. I learned really quickly that it didn't matter whether your battle buddy was black, white, gay, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. As long as they were there and they had your back, you had theirs. I learned more in those 8 weeks of basic training than I had in my previous 21 years. Throughout my military career, my viewpoints on the world changed. I saw how people were shaped by their environments and their experiences. I realized growing up that I didn't have to deal with anything like racism, sexism, or any other form of discrimination. I lived an extremely privileged life growing up. I traveled to several different countries and saw the best and worst of cultures, and it was a first-hand course in understanding the United States' role in the world. I've been in public service pretty much my whole life. So I started in the Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout. I made it to Eagle Scout. I worked at a Boy Scout camp one summer, helping young kids get their first class merit badges and stuff. Then I joined the military. I served in the Air Force for 13 years. I spent time as a police officer down in Texas for a little while. Funny thing about that. So this isn't in my speech, and I'm going to go off a little bit. Okay, so my dad served in the Air Force and then spent 30 years as a cop. My brother joined the Navy and ended up in prison. So I joined the Air Force and decided I better be a cop, okay? I better follow his footsteps so I don't end up in prison like my brother. My campaign manager's going to hate me for saying that. Perfect. Okay. When I left the military, I found myself asking, how can I continue to serve? How can I work towards that desire, fill that desire to make a real impact and help other people? And this is what I landed on. Door to door, call after call, every meeting I've been down to Pontotoc County, I've been to McClain, I've been to Grady, I've been, oh goodness, where else have I been? Carter. I've been all over the place, and I talk to people, and I find out what issues matter to you, and so I find it only fair that I tell you what issues matter to me as well, right? Women's bodily autonomy is not a political issue. It's a personal issue. It's between them, their doctor, their family, and whatever faith they have, if they have one. The government belongs nowhere in that discussion. It is sometimes an excruciating and unimaginable choice that women have to make. And as legislators, we don't belong in it. It's not our job. That's the doctor's job, right? So when I'm elected, I promise to do everything in my power to stand up for those rights and protect them. We made a mistake when we didn't codify Roe v. Wade. We're not going to make that mistake again, right? In the police world, I'm going off script again. In the police world, we do a lot of things based on case law, right? The stop and frisk, based on case law. Almost everything we do in the police world is based on case law. And we accept that as the law, even though it's not really written anywhere. It's just argued in a court, right? Roe v. Wade was the same thing. We got lazy. We accepted it as case law. And then it was overturned. So we're not going to make that mistake again. Tom Cole nominated Jim Jordan for the Speaker of the House. In that speech, he said that Jim Jordan would get after the real drivers of debt. That was Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. In a way, yes, we spend more on those programs than gets put in. That's fact. But we can make Social Security and Medicare solvent for another 75 plus years just by raising or getting rid of the tax cap. There is no reason that a man making $10 million is paying the same as somebody who makes $160,000, right? I talked to one former state legislator who has a business that's doing very well, and he says it's crazy. He's done paying into Social Security by March, and then he doesn't have to do it anymore. Why do we accept that? Why is that okay? Why are we protecting the rich instead of protecting those that are most vulnerable in our society? Our democracy is under attack. We all know January 6th happened. We have people in Congress that think it didn't happen, that they were just tourists, that it was a peaceful protest. It wasn't. We even have our own representative here in District 4 didn't certify the elections. So is this who we are? No. When did compromise, regardless of political affiliation, become the problem? We saw multiple Republican representatives that either were on the January 6th panel or spoke out about January 6th. They all got primaried. Why are we doing this? What happened to reaching across the aisle? They got punished for it. And I don't think that's right in any sense. We all know that sometimes the roads to change are bumpy. Progress comes step at a time. Who here is a sports fan? Likes football? All right, I like to say that progress comes in small chunk plays, right? If you throw a Hail Mary on every single play, are you going to score much? No, progress has to come gradually. And part of that is reaching across that aisle and coming to a compromise and working towards it. We also need to invest more in our transportation, right? Our trains are old. We don't have high-speed rail. If we could bring high-speed rail to connect South Texas up to Chicago, rebuild the Route 66 corridor, you could be here to Florida on vacation in like a couple hours. That's true. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough.
We'll be out of office by then.
Oh, we'll get to Florida after it, becomes an island. We need to fix our roads and bridges. We need to do all this and bring in high-paying jobs and rebuild our rural areas. A high-speed railway to connect the cities would allow people to live outside the city and still be able to have a 30-minute commute to work in the city. And that economy will help rural Oklahoma, and we can start to build better again. Biden already started that, the Build Back Better plan. So, this election isn't about me, and it's not about Mary. It's about you guys. It's about the voters, and you have a choice, okay? When you cast your vote, vote for the person who will fight the hardest for our shared vision for Oklahoma, who will put people over party, and who will fight for you. Thank you. Oh.